Here are 4 signs you could be a genius. Number 1, you forget simple things. A brilliant mind is almost always overflowed with thoughts and knowledge. This causes geniuses to be a bit scatterbrained and forget things easily. Number 2, you overthink everything. You're probably stressed pretty often because you always have questions in your head. And you might even have random existential crises every once in a while. Number 3, you question everything. You probably find yourself asking some pretty deep questions, like where does a thought go when it's forgotten? And finally, number 4, you talk to yourself. Studies show that talking to yourself is actually a sign of a higher intelligence level. Amazing coincidences that will blow your mind. This one literally makes me believe that we're living in a simulation. So, you don't want to miss it. Number 1, the separated twins who had pretty much identical lives. In 1940, 2 twin baby boys were separated at birth and put up for adoption. However, after being reunited by chance, 39 years later, they learned that they pretty much lived the exact same life. They were both named James after they were adopted. They both grew up to be police officers, and they both married a woman named Linda. But that's not all. They both had a son named James Allen, and they both had a dog named Toy. And if that's not crazy enough, the 2 brothers both later divorced and married a new one. And yeah, you guessed it, both new wives had the exact same name, Betty. But it's just a coincidence, right? These 2 kids will restore your faith in humanity. These 2 were best friends in preschool and wanted to play a prank on their teacher. So, they decided to get the exact same haircut so the teacher couldn't tell them apart. Incredibly, neither of the children realized or cared that they were different colors. In their eyes, if they got the exact same haircut, they would look the exact same. It's an adorable demonstration of how colorblind children are, and a good reminder that nobody is born racist. Daily dose of good news. This senior from Buffalo, New York spent more than 10 hours cleaning up a city after a violent protest there. The senior's name was Antonio, and when his community found out about his actions, they made sure to give him a proper reward. This generous student gifted Antonio a brand new car. Antonio also received insurance, along with a full-ride scholarship to college from his grateful community. Things the human body does that you didn't know about, Part 2. If you lose 75% of your liver, it can still grow back to full size. The average male produces enough sperm in 1 week to impregnate every single woman on Earth, including your mom. When your fingers look like this underwater, it's actually your body adapting to grab things better underwater. Amazing coincidences that will blow your mind, Part 2. This one is scary, so you don't want to miss this. Number 2. Edgar Allan Poe literally predicting the future. In 1838, Edgar Allan Poe wrote this book right here. In his book, Edgar describes the story of 4 sailors who managed to survive the sinking of their ship through cannibalism. They literally ate a cabin boy by the name of Richard Parker to survive. At the time, Edgar Allan Poe claimed that it was based off of a true story, but nobody believed him. 46 years later, however, a boat really did sink, and the people on that boat had to eat a cabin boy to survive. Now, what do you think the name of the cabin boy who got eaten was? If you said Richard Parker, yeah. Strangest Unsolved Mysteries from Every U.S. State, Part 10. In 2008, a 23-year-old woman named Christine Walters was found naked and bleeding on the doorstep of a couple living in Eureka, California. However, when the couple took Christine to the hospital, she refused to explain what happened to her and wouldn't say a word. Later that day, Christine eventually admitted to her mother that she was being chased by demons through a forest, and if she told anyone about what happened, the demons would hear her and come back for her. Initially, her mom didn't really believe her story, but 2 days later, Christine Walters was mysteriously reported missing. She was never seen again. This just goes to show, don't make a deathbed confession unless you are 100% sure that you are going to die. In 2012, a prison inmate named James Washington suffered from a heart attack and believed that he was dying. He told his prison guard that he had one thing that he really wanted to get off his conscience. He then confessed to the brutal murder of a woman named Joyce Goodner in 1995, which was a case that had never been solved before. However, instead of dying like he thought he would, miraculously, James survived. Of course, he immediately tried to take back his confession. However, it was much too late. Because of his very own confession, he was sentenced to another 51 years in prison, on top of his original 12 years. So as it turns out, he wasn't making a deathbed confession, just a normal one. What a nice guy. Here's the incredible story behind the man with the golden arm, who has saved the lives of over 2 million babies. The guy literally has a real-life superpower, so you don't want to miss this. When James Harrison was just 14 years old, he almost died from a chest operation. He only survived because he received 2 liters of blood donations from people he had never met before. James was really grateful for his donators, so he made a resolution to donate as much of his own blood as he could when he was older. But when James first started donating, doctors realized there was something unusual about his blood. Amazingly, they found that James's blood had special antibodies that were the cure for the rhesus disease, a devastating blood disorder that caused babies to be born either dead or with crippling brain damage. He began donating his blood every single week, and he did that for more than 60 years, eventually saving the lives of more than 2.4 million babies. He even managed to help save his own grandkid. Because he made the decision to donate his blood when he was younger, James was able to become a grandfather and save the lives of millions worldwide.